Hi, I'm Fred. This is the Daria Reactions. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Yeah, that was an awkward intro. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, what we're doing is a rewatch, reaction, commentary, discussion of every single episode of MTV's Daria. One of the key words in that sentence was rewatch, because I am certainly old enough to have been in high school when Daria was first airing on MTV back in the day. And I would watch the episodes either on Thursday nights when new episodes premiered, or particularly in the seasons 4 and 5, catching reruns of various episodes on weekday afternoons before Total Request Live, back when Carson Daly was hosting it. Yes, I like making that particular reference because it makes everyone feel old. Because if you're my age, you definitely remember that period of MTV's history. Anyway, this episode that we are covering today is Gifted, season 2, episode 8, and I do remember this particular episode for a couple different reasons. This is the episode where Daria and Jane, not Daria and Jane, Daria and Jody go off to take a tour of a school for quote unquote gifted students. And they travel with Jake and Helen, while Quinn is basically left behind, and she is supposed to be spending the night or the weekend with her friends. However, she keeps getting kicked out. So I think she starts with Sandy, then she ends up at Stacy's, and then Tiffany's, and then eventually ends up at Jane's. And I do remember the end of this episode where Jane is just shoving Quinn away, just like that she would never want to go through that experience again. I think that's the ending of this episode. So yeah, I remember a fair bit about this episode just by the title, which is certainly a lot different than last week with the new kid episode, where I did not remember anything until watching it and seeing the pieces fall into place. Of course, we are doing the display capture here. We're turning the blurs on and off and stuff like that. And because we had good luck with it last week, we are using the Daria box set, which is, again, one of the worst box sets put together in terms of getting disc to read, as well as the internal things being dislodged, and these horrible, where the discs don't even stay on the little holders. Again, I don't know why back in the day when it's like they try to be gimmicky with box sets and stuff like that, in terms of like how they hold the discs and things of that nature. It just annoys the hell out of me. Anyway, let's get to it. Boys are the scourge of the earth. I don't think anybody, most feminists, will disagree with that. That Brittany, the Telltale Heart is not a romance novel. Jody is pleased with Brittany's artwork. The principal lead just had a subtle orgasm when saying that Grove Hills has issued an invitation to 2 students from Lawndale High. that that raises a wait a second. Did Jake put the plate into the oven? I am so baffled by that. Yeah, yeah, that's what they said. They that is a funny line there. It's just a visit to Dallas, Mr. President. It was the last visit that John F. Kennedy ever made. A lot of haggling going on. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Quinn is like a whole deal with like it's not fair either way. Quinn had a keg party. That raises so many questions in and of itself. At least I was right that Quinn is going to start off her journey of moving from friend to friend's house, starting with Sandy. Jeez, Sandy's mom sounds just like her, but her voice is actually higher pitched. No, I can firmly believe Sandy has to beat off many things, not necessarily with a stick. Helen is trying too hard. I know that much. Boy, Helen and Quinn know how to suck up to people, don't they? Yeah, asking Jody if she belongs to any clubs is like opening Pandora's box. Uh, yes, they did. Why doesn't Daria hang around with Kevin Thompson? I can think of a few reasons. Most of it involves having to tolerate the fact that Brittany can be a bit psychotic with her jealousy. Meanwhile, at Sandy's house, breakouts. Woo! Holy crap! Sandy's brothers are smitten with Quinn. It's like, what does it mean? Quinn didn't do nothing wrong. It's like, and at the same time, Wouldn't Sandy actually be thrilled that she could actually have her brothers deal with Quinn? Right. All right. Daria's liking it so far. But wait, Daria ends up finding something wrong with the school, I think. Or is it or the tuition or something? I think that's also a factor because Jake, yes, it was a film to indoctrinate them. Daria doesn't have any. Daria is right about that. It's like nothing's worse than being over 40 and having a lot of resentment towards life. Jake doesn't give a flying fuck about what's going on. Helen is quite invested in the promotion video. Oh yeah, Jody's parents arrive. Oh wow, it's like, oh, you must be Jody's parents. Oh, it's like, why did you say that? Because you're the only parents that sat next to them, and there are other African American candidates at this being recruited here too for the school. Oh wow, Jody's mom is kind of resentful into like having another child. I had the order wrong. Tiffany is the second one that Quinn stays at. No, it doesn't make you look fat. This make me look fat? No, Tiffany is upset. Wow, that's kind of a bit of a loaded situation there. Well, there is a big difference there. Daria went to school with Beavis and Butthead. It's like that's a major difference in hindrance. And would not make Daria want to socialize with anyone. Taco. This reminds me of that joke from Tropic Thunder. What do you mean, you people? I'm I'm not surprised. Actually, that's actually something that comes back around. That Stacy actually likes Quinn the most because that comes back around in like is it college yet? What is she wearing? Stacy is quite self-conscious in a large way. Holy shit! That's kind of awkward. Like Stacy was actually trying to be very very accommodating, and Quinn kind of got freaked out. Probably Stacy was over accommodating, giving people a chance is like trying to pet a rabid dog. Amusing at first, but then followed with a lot of pain afterwards. What did he do? Ah, this is where the elitism of the school comes in terms of the education. Oh, you're not smart enough. You came up short on the SATs. Again, Daria throws it right back at her. You know, that actually says a lot to an extent of all the people that Quinn could possibly go to. She goes to Jane. No, she's not kidding. Wow, Quinn actually plays that game a lot. Mass serial puppy killers. I didn't realize Lawndale was in Alabama. It's like this. What type of rest we talking about? Yeah, that raises a question. Yeah, Grove Hills is one of those schools that this grind kids down into like a mush in terms of oh study 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 with like no room for anything else. Unfortunately, the whole concept of Grove Hills in this episode is actually a mindset that a lot of parents have. Tiger Moms is actually a great example of it. Again, here comes the elitism. Jody is snapping. Daria doesn't care. Daria made up her mind a while ago. Yeah, as well as you can't help but want to make fun of people who are totally full of themselves. Yeah, of course, I admit I'm full of shit half the time. Uh, again, Daria admits it that she knows, like, yeah, she knows she's missing out on things, and it like she there are things that she probably wants to do that she doesn't allow herself to do because of certain circumstances. Just some of the time that Daria would like to be like Jody, and Jody wants to be like Daria. You know, if Daria went to Grove Hills, though, she would kind of filter out the student population with what she would do to the Sloppy Joe mix. Just saying. Quinn, you're guessing their home. Daria's sister. It is kind of funny though that Quinn getting like the treatment that her and the fashion club treat Daria here. Simple. Is That's a good point. That's the whole thing about private schools. If you're going to get the same education at a public school in comparison to a private school, why go to a private school? It's like it's a financial burden more than anything else. And other than just like having the name that you went there on the resume when going to like a college or something. Yeah, Jake and Helen are a bit of a head cases, but they mean well. I was right here. Here comes that's just a great visual. Jane is done. What did Kevin do? I will write until my hands are numb. Oh wow, Jody just snapped at Brittany. Good book. All right. All in all, this is a fun episode. The Quinn subplot is actually very, very good. In terms of like the interactions of Quinn one on one with each individual members of the Fashion Club. Quinn and Stacy's rivalry is certainly fixated here with how they take, particularly from Stacy twisting things. Quinn says and we get Quinn to praise her in a way. Stacy's brothers actually annoying their older sister. Yeah, Sandy's brothers annoying their older sister by like being infatuated and wanting to do anything for Quinn is actually a nice little touch, and also is a big reference to possibly how much more likable Quinn is in comparison to Sandy. Quinn and Tiffany. Again, Tiffany's probably the most airheady of the Fashion Club members, and probably is about as shallow as a puddle. Uh, in terms of like wanting to go through her outfits, wondering if they made her look fat. And I can't help but think of another episode later on that comes back to as with like the telling ghost stories of sorts, and there was like somebody who got so thin that you could just hear their bones rattling, and that so it's kind of like a weird thing here as it relates to the Fashion Club, and I actually, ooh, was that it from season 4 or 5? Now that I think about that. Anyway, Stacy dressing like Quinn is actually kind of freaky in its own way. Uh, because she's basically trying to appease a Quinn, and as I said though, that what Stacy says that she likes Quinn the best, does come back around at the very end of the series, because basically when the Fashion Club breaks up as it relates to Quinn being smart and Stacy basically wanting to follow Quinn's lead as opposed to staying in the Fashion Club and with the wannabe Queen Bee in terms of Sandy. Again, that's like far down the line now. I might be remembering that. The stuff at Grove Hills, it's interesting. You get a lot of stuff where it's like, okay, Daria and Jody interacting with people that are kind of like them in terms of an intellectual level, but then you have the one jerk. It was like the students there being jerks to one student who just happened to have the much lower SAT score than them, and realizing, okay, these are not people that they want to associate with. It's like there's like a huge difference, okay, of being put in a situation where you can just solely focus on your studies, but then there's that pressure where instead of worrying about athletics, beauty, looks, and general popularity of a typical high school, but then you're in a very competitive setting where your grades will determine your social standing. Again, which is something that is brought up as it relates to Jody's personality, because Jody pushes herself so very hard all the time anyway, and she makes reference to the fact that if she went to Groves Hill, she'd probably kill herself, or well, no, she says die, but it's the same thing there. The interaction between Jody's parents and Jake and Helen, it's kind of interesting with the awkwardness of Jody's mother taking everything Helen says out of context. Although Jake and Jody's father seem to hit it off a little bit there. All in all, a pretty good episode, and but again, the iconic moment is Jane basically pushing Quinn, is like, take her now, that she can't take anymore. But circling back to that of all the people, I'm trying to think that what is kind of odd that Jane didn't go to Brittany. But then again, Jane, like Brittany has I don't think Brittany has ever been to the Morgendorfers, and Brittany and Quinn don't really interact. Now I'm trying to think. At this point, outside of the episode where the paintball episode, how often are Quinn and Brittany in the same place at the same time? That is something to really consider. They don't really interact. So that would explain as to why Quinn didn't go to Brittany, because very different social circles. I'm going to assume, because Brittany's a cheerleader, and so that's a whole level different level of popularity and social circle. Words are hard. So that is something to consider. but also to us at the same time, it probably also says a lot about, maybe to some extent, of how she values Jane, or at least the respect she may have had to Jane. And it's like, okay, she gets kicked. Quinn gets kicked out of two houses, Sandy's and Tiffany's, and she basically runs out of Stacy's house. And of all people, she goes to Jane. So there might be a bit of respect. There might be a level of trust there, because okay, Quinn knows that Jane is Daria's friend, and that's just drawing this out there, because Quinn knows Daria does not make friends easily. That okay, if Daria is friends with Jane, probably in Quinn's mind is like, okay, going to Jane's house is probably like a quote unquote the safest place that she could go to given her potential options. Also, at the same time, this raises questions on, like, could she have gone to either Jeffrey, Jamie's, or one of the three J's houses? But even at the same time, Quinn would not do that. So that says, says a lot there about Quinn's character too. Anyway, I know again the Quinn stuff is the subplot, but again, it's like it's the best stuff in the episode, because there's so many different ways you can interpret that. So with that said, we'll wrap this up here. And this would be a good time to announce that, because at the time I'm recording this, I am still in the middle of playing Marvel's Midnight Suns, and we just started God Eater Resurrection, that there will be another episode of the Daria Reactions this Friday. So with that said, tighten your friendship bracelet, stay safe, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you on Friday for the next episode.